Hello, everybody. Continuing again with chapter 14, um, and Byron catching Kenny as he falls off the floor, or falls to the floor from standing near the sink, looking at himself in the mirror. He knew this was some real embarrassing stuff, so he closed the bathroom door and sat on the tub and waited for me to stop, but I couldn't. Talking about crying that he was doing when he fell. I felt like someone had pulled the plug on me and every tear inside me was rushing out. If there was a forest fire somewhere, all Smokey the Bear would have to do was hold me upside down over it and the fire wouldn't have a chance. Byron sat next to me on the floor and put my head in his lap. I still couldn't stop, even though I was soaking him worse than Joey ever drooled on anybody. It was real embarrassing. I'm sorry, Bye. Shut up and cry if you want. That sounded like a real good idea, so I did. I think I cried for about 200 hours. Why would they do that, Byron? I was sounding real bad. My throat was jumping around in my neck and making a bunch of weird noises. Why would they hurt some little kids like that? He waited a long time before he answered. I don't know, Kenny. Mama and Dad say they can't help themselves. They did it because they're sick. But I don't know. I ain't never heard of no sickness that makes you kill little girls just because you don't want them in your school. I don't think they're sick at all. I think they just let hate eat them up and turn them into monsters. But it's okay now. They can't hurt you here. It's alright. My Adam's apple felt like it was gonna blow a hole in my throat, but I said, I did go to the church, Bye. I saw what happened. I saw two of those little girls. I thought Joey got killed too. We all did, Kenny. There ain't nothing wrong with being sad or scared about that. I'm sad about it too. I got real scared too. But, man, no one's gonna hurt you here, Kenny. But Bye. I tried to think of how to say it. I'm not scared. I'm just real ashamed of myself. That was it. That was the main thing I'd finally found out from being a patient in the world-famous Watson Pet Hospital. Kenny, you ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. But you don't know what happened, Byron. You don't know what I did. Man, everybody cried. Mama was crying. Dad was scared. He cried too. That was some real scary stuff. Some real sad stuff. He still didn't understand. Byron, I left Joey. I thought the Woolpoo had her, and instead of fighting him like you did, I left. I ran from him. How come you were brave enough to fight him and all I could do was run? All I could save was a shoe. A stupid ripped up shoe. I couldn't stop crying. Aw, man, you ain't gonna start talking that Woolpoo mess again, are you? I told you the Woolpoo was some made up garbage. I told you the only one I was fighting in that water was your stupid little behind. Wasn't no one in that water but you and me. That's what you think, Bye, but I know better. I've seen him twice. I couldn't believe Byron was still talking to me. Most of the time, if I started sounding weepy and whiny, he'd take right off. Look, Kenny, if you don't quit talking that Woolpoo nonsense, I'm gonna leave you here to cry all alone. There ain't no such thing as a Woolpoo. Then he stopped sounding so mean and said, there ain't no such things as magic powers neither. I was surprised he'd brought up the magic powers. You think I don't know why you've been hanging out behind the couch? He grabbed my ear and twisted my head until I had to look at him. You think I don't know you waiting for some stupid magic powers or genies or angel to make you feel better? Dig this. You can wait behind that couch for the rest of your life. Ain't no magic powers gonna come back there and make you feel nothing. Only thing that's gonna happen back there is that you're gonna stunt your growth from being in a little ball all day. He pulled my ear to make sure I was listening. If you've been spending so much time thinking about how you didn't save Joey, why don't you stop and think about why she wasn't in that church? Why don't you spend some time thinking about who it was that led her away? But it wasn't me, Byron. I never... Man, shut up and listen. He twisted my ear to make me be quiet. Ain't no genies in this world, Kenny. Ain't no magic powers neither. There ain't even no angels, not in this neighborhood anyway. Man, I just don't get you. You're supposed to be the one who's smart. How can you believe in something as stupid as magic powers and genies living behind the couch, but not believe it was part of you that took Joetta out of that church? Byron started throwing me curveballs. If you hadn't been born, who would have took her away from that bomb? No one. If you hadn't been born and she walk out of that hot church and saw some stranger waving at her from across the street, think she would have followed him? No! She'd have gone right back in there. If you hadn't been born, who would have gone in that church to see if Joey really was in there? Me and Mama and Dad was all too scared. He was the only one brave enough to go in there. Every time he made a point, he twisted my ear to make me understand better. But Byron, it's just not fair. What about those other kids? You know they had brothers and sisters and mamas and daddies who loved them just as much as we loved Joey. How come no one came and got them out of that church? How's it fair? How come their relatives couldn't come and warn them? Byron let go of my ear and thought for a second. Kenny, things ain't ever gonna be fair. How's it fair that two grown men could hate black people so much that they'd kill some kids just to stop them from going to school? How's it fair that even though the cops down there might know who did it, nothing will probably ever happen to those men? It ain't. But you gotta understand that that's the way it is. Keep on stepping. Byron let me sniff and wipe my hand across my eyes before he slid my head back onto the linoleum and stood up. He went over and got some toilet paper and wiped my tears and boogers off my legs. Then he let a couple of sheets of toilet paper float down and land on me and said, "Blow your nose, wash your face. You've been behind that couch long enough. It's about time you cut this mess out. Mama and Dad beginning to think your little behind is seriously on the blink. Today is the day you check out of the world-famous Watson Pet Hospital. Don't let me catch you back there no more. You ain't got no cause to be ashamed or scared or nothing. You're smart enough to figure out that one yourself. Besides, you're getting the word from the top wolf himself. You're gonna be alright, baby bro. Swear to God." He walked over to the mirror and scrunched his face up so he could look at his chin again, then used his thumb and forefinger to pull that long, skinny, black hair out a little bit. He let the hair go, smiled at himself, and ran his hands along his head like he was brushing his hair. "Shoot," he said. "I wish someone would come clean and tell me who my real folks was. There just ain't no way in heck two people as ugly as your mama and daddy could ever have a child as fine as me." He blew himself a kiss in the mirror, then left the bathroom. Before he shut the door, I could see that Mama and Dad and Joey were standing there in a little knot, trying not to let me know they were eavesdropping. Mama whispered, "What's going on, Bi? Why's Kenny crying like that? Is he okay?" He told her, "Kenny's gonna be cool. He's related to me, ain't he?" Byron Watson, how many times am I gonna tell you about saying ain't? Some of the time it's hard to figure Byron out. He was very right about some things and he was very wrong about some things. He was very wrong when he said the whirlpool was something he'd made up. If he'd ever had his ankle grabbed by it, he'd know it was real. Sorry, I got a knock at the door and I interrupted. I have to start that paragraph over. Some of the time it was hard to figure Byron out. He was very right about some things and he was very wrong about some things. He was very wrong when he said the whirlpool was something he'd made up. If he'd ever had his ankle grabbed by it, he'd know it was real. If he'd ever seen the way it was crouched down, crawling around in the dust and smoke in the church in Birmingham, he'd know it wasn't some made-up garbage. If he'd ever seen those horrible toes, he'd know the whirlpool was as serious as a heart attack. He was also very wrong about there not being anything like magic powers or genies or angels. Maybe those weren't the things that can make a run-over dog walk without wobbling, but they were out there. Maybe they were in the way your father smiled at you even after you'd messed something up real bad. Maybe they were in the way you understood that your mother wasn't trying to make you the laughing stock of the whole school when she'd call you over in front of a bunch of your friends and you spit on her fingers to wipe the sleep out of your eyes. Maybe it was magic powers that let you know she was just being mama. Maybe they were the reason that you really didn't care when the kids would say, "Yuck, you let your mama slob on you?" And you had to say, "Shut up, that's my mama, we have the same germs." Maybe there were genies in the way your sister would throw a stupid tea party for you and you had fun even though it was kind of embarrassing to sit at a little table and sip water out of plastic teacups. Maybe there were magic powers hiding in the way your older brother made all the worst thugs in the neighborhood play basketball with you even though you double dribbled every time they threw you the ball. And I'm sure there was an angel in Birmingham when Grandma Sands wrapped her little arms around all the weird Watsons and said, "My family, my beautiful, beautiful family." I climbed up on the toilet, leaned over the sink to take a look. I smiled. Byron was very right about some things, too. He was very right when he said I was too smart to believe magic powers lived behind a couch. He also knew what he was talking about when he said I was going to be all right. Joetta banged on the bathroom door. "Kenny, Byron said you're feeling much better now. If that's right, come on out. I gotta use the bathroom real bad." She said real like it had a million letters in it. Some of the time I wondered if there really was something wrong with me. A few minutes ago I'd been crying on the floor like a kindergarten baby, and now I was looking at the mirror laughing. I blew my nose and splashed a little water on my face 'cause I wanted to go out. Besides, I had to think of a way to get at least half of my dinosaurs back from Rufus. Come on in, Joey. And that's the end of the book, my friends. There is a little epilogue that kind of gives a little bit of history about some of the racial tensions that were happening with the bombing of the church, because something like that really happened in real life. That's in the epilogue. That's going to be following this video. So please make sure you listen too. Have a great day.